Hi, I'm Mark Allgard, Director of Client Strategy for Momentum. We're a firm that takes a people-centric approach to delivering buildings to help credit unions thrive. Today I'm here to talk about driving retail branch traffic in the post-pandemic stay-at-home order world and the challenge you have in giving consumers a reason to come back into your branch. Because it is here, I believe, where credit unions are most successful in differentiating, building close personal relationships with members and competing successfully with national banks. I'm guessing many of your members have become comfortable banking remotely, and that's great to a point, but our data still shows that most banking relationships require a bricks and mortar presence, and you need these physical locations for tangible, authentic interactions and relationship building. Your challenge is to overcome the inertia that has set in with your market, keeping members and potential members away from the branch. Between the convenience of digital technology and pandemic branch closures driving digital adoption, in-branch transaction volumes have plummeted. Someday soon, every interaction will be digital. That's it, everyone. No more branches. Let's pack it up and go home. Well, not quite. The digital future, or present really, will have a lower operating cost, but it comes with one very big downside, and that's commodification, and the resulting negative impact on interactions and opportunities to connect in a personal way with your market. You can have the greatest credit union in the world, but when someone renting an apartment down the street Googles mortgage rates, there's a really good chance you're not going to be at the top of that list. So how do you ensure that this apartment dweller considers you for their mortgage needs? Credit unions have a major differentiating factor over the big banks, and that's the human touch and the fact that these organizations are run by people who care about you and your financial life. A recent Accenture study showed that only 29% of Americans trust their bank to look after their long-term financial well-being, down from 43% just 2 years ago. It's pretty bad, but on its own, not enough to win over people to the credit union movement. It's critical that you bring people into the branch to talk to your staff and experience the credit union difference themselves. And we're not just describing small talk while cashing checks, but rather conversations that add value to your members' financial lives and establish relationships built on trust. Today, we're going to talk about how to drive relationship building traffic into your branch by expressing your brand and value proposition in a way that differentiates you, by supporting dynamic problem-solving staff who bring your brand to life, by moving beyond channel thinking and focusing on experiences, and finally, by creatively using physical spaces in a way that creates an environment where these human touch points and high-value transactions feel natural. This is how you get people in the door and show them that not only are you their financial institution, but that you'll be there for them at the major stages of their life and give them value beyond the numbers a big bank will throw at them in a web search. Let's start with how you can differentiate with your brand through your branch facility. A common pitfall many organizations fall into is to thinking that their logo, their name, their taglines are their brand. This isn't true. Your brand is what you stand for and how you stand out. It's the experience the market trusts you to deliver. Take Volvo, for example. Their brand is safety. Tesla is technology innovation. Subaru, it's the rugged outdoors. These companies didn't just create a brand, they activated it in a way that's practical, functional, and emotional. It shapes the way they operate and how they innovate. Volvo isn't going to make a car that doesn't pass safety tests. Tesla isn't going to make a car without driving assist and other innovations, and Subaru isn't going to make a car that doesn't feel at home on loose mountain roads. Now think about what brand activation means for your credit union. Imagine curating your members and employees in the same way Subaru curates customers who will only buy a Subaru. This is the key to building long-term value, loyalty, retention, and engagement of both your members and staff. The National Institutes of Health Federal Credit Union is an excellent example of brand activation in the physical environment. This branch is about how you feel when you are in the space. The credit union had previously built branches that told you what it was about. We are a member of the biomedical community. The branches were clean and functional, but they didn't make you feel any differently than any other nicely appointed branch facility. But with their recent branch transformation, they pivoted from this explicit association to healthcare to conveying a feeling of well-being. Green walls, natural materials, calming spaces, places where members feel at ease. This shift from telling to showing activated their brand and helps their market identify with the credit union at a deeper level. There are steps you can take to put this idea into practice, and they start with understanding what your brand actually is and what your credit union stands for. Talk to your stakeholders. Discover your internal vision, business goals, and generally how you want to be perceived. talk to existing members, and develop an understanding of how they see you. Look at how you stack up to the competition. Is the brand you're building or refining truly differentiated in the market? Are you really giving members a reason to choose you? And finally, audit your brand to make sure it's authentic and something that is embraced by not only members, but your team, and that it aligns with your actions and value proposition. This leads us to our next topic, your people. When members come into the branch and when the human touch points happen, it's through your staff. Your staff are a critical component of delivering your brand experience. What is the number one reason people go into the branch? It's help, advice, and problem solving. We want to provide great service and help members feel heard, respected, and get quality advice from someone they trust. Your employees, your team members are the cornerstone of this strategy. It's not to cash checks. These days, routine transactions are generally done by apps. The employees of the future are empowered to be dynamic problem solvers. These are employees you have trained on your brand, culture, and mission, and that you have empowered to make decisions based on these fundamentals. These team members will have a broader skill set and scope of responsibilities. They may be harder to find, but they are more engaged with your organization, and this variety and empowerment leads to decreased boredom and fatigue and improved job satisfaction. And understand that a great experience for your staff team trickles down to your members. The labor market is competitive, and being that your staff spend 8+ hours a day in your branch, you need to deliver an excellent environment. So how can you support this team of the future? First, eliminate barriers, digital, physical, and psychological, and allow your staff to choreograph the best type of interaction themselves. Embrace well-being. Take away all those sources of friction that frustrate employees and give them a clean, vibrant working environment where they feel their best and nothing stands in the way of delivering excellent member experiences. And create clarity amongst the team. Why do you exist? Why do you do what you do? What values do you ascribe to? What is your role? What decisions are you empowered to make? This is the final key to giving the staff the autonomy they need to deliver on your brand promise from the moment a member walks through the door until they walk out satisfied that their problem was solved. This brings us to experiences. Experiences are the holistic sum of your members' interactions with you and perception of your organization, from depositing a check in the app to the lending officer who helped them buy their first home, and including how they look at your branch when they're walking through the neighborhood. We're seeing credit unions focus less on the individual channel and trying to think more like the consumer. Consumers don't think in terms of channel, they simply say, I need to go to the credit union, and just assume it's accessible from whatever channel they choose. Consumers expect a good experience regardless of the channel. Thus, the focus should be on the holistic experience, and the branch should reflect this sentiment, a visually and experientially seamless ecosystem. This is an environment where every interaction is an opportunity to create connections with a member. An interaction that began digitally can be carried out in person, and the experience feels familiar even if the member has never stepped foot in the branch. For Chrome Credit Union, the strategy was, you may never need to come into the branch, but when you do, I want you to have the best experience you've had all day. Amazon is pushing this concept to the forefront of retail. Who has been in an Amazon bookstore? It's an instantly recognizable experience, the way the books are displayed, the way they are reviewed and priced, for example, but it's also a deliberately tactile and analog experience. This blending of digital and bricks and mortar channels is a unique advantage that credit unions have. Many retailers would be ecstatic to have customers that interacted with them in such an evenly measured way. You have flexibility in delivering your products and services, flexibility in staffing, more opportunities for a positive, memorable customer experience. If your brand promise comes alive in your digital marketing, you can bet that this will eventually drive traffic into your branches. But you better make sure that when this traffic comes, they have the same great experience with your brand in the physical environment as well. What really ties this all together is your physical branch spaces and the creative ways that you use them. Where you invest is an indication of your priorities, and it's an opportunity to be seen as part of something bigger. And it also presents an opportunity to draw people in. Attributes that support your community in a brand-centric but non-banking related way can reinforce the reason members choose to bank with you. Many credit unions, such as Chrome or Armco, are investing in community spaces and business incubators open to the public. They're taking their support of communities from talk to action by making investments that directly stimulate community activities and business growth in their areas. And this is something people take notice of when choosing where to bank, both personally and for their business. Also think about the reasons people step into a branch in the first place. It's one thing to bring members in, but how can you get the general public, many of whom are unfamiliar with credit unions, into the branch and exposed to your brand? CBC came up with a brilliant solution, a partnership with Dunkin' Donuts. The credit union downsized their branch, but instead of moving, they took advantage of their large space by partnering with Dunkin' and sharing a lobby and cafe area. Their branch is bustling with activity and the partnership is bringing in new business. In practice, this requires a strong connection between your mission and that of your partner business and a thoughtful balance of brand, messaging, and aesthetics in the shared space. But when done well, this strategy can really increase your discoverability. The industry is changing rapidly, but we're converging on a vision of what banking will be in the future. While those who do nothing face commodification, you have an opportunity to truly differentiate yourself as a human face of banking. Take advantage of consumer frustration of being just a number in a database to stand out with easy access to people who can help, and use your values and brand identity to drive innovations in the banking experience. Look outside the financial institution box and take inspiration from other brands, especially retailers like Nordstrom, Warby Parker, or even Best Buy, who have succeeded in retail by embracing physical human experiences. Get creative with your branches. You have an opportunity to stand out in a way big banks just can't, and leaning into what makes you different can fundamentally shift your strategy from keeping up with innovations to driving them. Thanks again for joining me. Momentum currently has active research projects underway that are meant to help credit unions thrive through the building environment. We're helping credit unions understand the rapidly evolving future of their corporate office workplace environments. And we're also partnering with the Filene Research Institute to develop best practices around incorporating diversity, equity, and inclusion into the physical workplace environment. You can learn more about this research on the Insights section of our website at momentumbuilds.com. Thanks again.